One thing that I've tried to always teach, athletes that I train, especially even with just one soccer player that I was working with, when we were doing some ladder work or some speed drills with the hurdle, he would try and stand upright and have his arms going, nice and straight and stiff, because he knows that's how we do it. But I would always try and get him just to move his body the way he would normally move, because that's how he's going to perform on the field, and it's better he works like that in the gym. So.
And
let's get ready to rumble!
I am the greatest. I have a dream.
Leg, I'm coming for you.
Got it!
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat.
Guys, welcome to episode 5 of the Ground Zero podcast. Now, whether you're listening to this on your favourite platform or watching on YouTube, welcome. But firstly, I'd like to thank you for all the messages of support, your great feedback after the first few shows, and also being new to the podcast space. We can only get better from here. But in saying that, if you have enjoyed the show, you've gotten some value out of them, then please give us a like or a share or a 5-star review. Now, with that said, it's time to introduce today's guests. Sitting here with the lads, I'm sure they don't need much introduction to you all. We do have Josh, the professor. We got Sim, Dennis Rodman, D-Rod, we got the caveman, and the man that is the entertainer of VT, Hamilton Hughes. How are you, lads?
Good, mate. Hey, can I just say before we start, man, what an absolute pleasure to be sitting here.
He's done podcasts before.
That was my first time.
Okay, so in today's show, guys, we'll be touching on programming, what our philosophies are, the new classes that we have put on here at VT and what we're working towards, and also the most effective exercises and routines that our footy and soccer players should be doing now that footy and soccer season is coming into effect. So lads, we do all share similar philosophies when it comes to training, and we do have between us a pretty strong knowledge base. At the end of last year, we had a meeting between us regarding our programming. I know everyone wanted to have their input, so what we did do is divided this year up into quarters, with you four having the majority say in what you're going to do in each quarter. We start off the year with Josh. You took up the first 3 months of programming. Can you give us a little insight of what you did within those 3 months and why you did it?
Oh, for sure, mate. Well, I think largely initially the program was influenced largely by Troy and Bill initially, so they created that good structure, as we all know, and then a lot of you boys, because you boys have been in the business longer than I have, but created that good structure based around those scientifically proven principles of periodisation, you know what I mean, which is what pretty much every program should be based around. But so if we worked within that structure, I truly believe that each one of us, like Troy initially said, is that we've got our own ideas and beliefs around programming, but ideally we're all trying to get to the same destination. So we're all trying to get the same outcome. It's just we all go through things we go about it a little bit differently, but everything we do is based on like scientifically proven principles, but just the way we sort of handle our exercise selection that is sometimes a bit different. So what I tried to do was I tried to lay a bit of a foundation for the initial start of the year. I tried to work on some unilateral based exercises, which is single limb, which is just great for balancing out any imbalances that we've got, injury prevention, that type of thing. Tried to work on a lot of range of motion stuff, and a lot of the stuff that I also did was based on trying to get people to improve their skill at lifting heavy weight, as opposed to lifting heavy weight all the time just for the sake of it. Because I know the boys are going to also have great programs come along, and I just felt like if we could just focus on that for the initial 3 months, as opposed to just trying to bang out too many 1RMs for the sake of it, I was going to set us up for a really successful year when the boys program took over. So my program was largely based around laying a strong base and a strong foundation, and then obviously Ville's going to come in now and do his thing, and then Hammy and Sim and And so I don't know, and I don't just say this for the sake of it, but I truly believe you're not going to get, when you've got so many good brains based around strength and conditioning in the one business, coming up with different ideas and different philosophies, like you're not going to get a better level of service and a better program than you're going to get here anywhere in Australia, I believe. You know what I mean? So I think if you could use the term cutting edge, I'd say we're cutting edge. And yeah, man. So that's where I was coming from, and that's sort of what I believe what you get within Valor mate. You know what I mean? So with the program especially. Yeah.
And like in saying that, like you've got a lot of experience behind it. So obviously, Billy and Hammy have got a lot of sporting history as yourself. Sim has got a lot of coaching history, in particular with like the CrossFit and all the other kind of styles and modalities that he does, the high performance, sprinting and all that. So putting that, like you said, putting our heads together. Well, not so much myself. I'll say I oversee it.
You've had an influence, mate.
There's been an influence in the past, but definitely. Sure. But I'm probably just making sure that it does work within the gym more than programming exercises into weeks or days. So after obviously you set up the foundation for the year, now we're in the middle of only a couple of weeks into Villy. Villy's 3 months of programming. Villy, what have you got in store? What's your philosophy behind it?
One is probably running off a linear kind of program of percentages. As Josh was saying, like he built a good foundation for a lot of our members. So we're in our phase this week is our contrast. So that's a kind of like a heavy lift followed by an explosive movement and more power exercises.
And can you explain to the listeners what the benefit of doing contrast training is?
So that kind of shocks the central nervous system, which is kind of to build strength a bit more faster than just lifting your basic just bench press a lot. So kind of hitting that central nervous system. Also with that contrast is kind of make it more exciting in the class. To kind of get away from that boring kind of repetitive movements. So
are you saying Josh's programming was boring?
No.
I'm the first person to say.
So that we're in that phase now where next week was kind of a deload week. Next week, so kind of taper down and then go again.
What can someone expect in a deload week?
More kind of hitting the small muscles, get away from our main lifts and all that, kind of taper it down, focus on the little muscles. That's pretty much your deload, and probably the intensity will probably drop a bit. Due to the last couple of weeks we've been...
The lifting intensity or the cardio intensity or
both.
all of it?
I would say both.
Okay.
Probably low impact on the cardio. As the last couple of weeks we've been hitting pretty much at that high intensity with the EMOMs and that, so everyone's probably seen that in partner work as well. So that's pretty much for this phase in my program for the 3 months, and probably just be a bit more exciting for the workouts. Kind of throw some random Saturday classes in there, just to catch everyone off guard rather than waiting for that Saturday session. So that's pretty much what they're going to expect in a couple of weeks.
So like I know like a couple of weeks ago when your programming came into effect, a lot of people were, I wouldn't say complaining, but they were just expressing how sore their bodies were. So obviously showing just that 1 week difference, was shocking the body. Obviously is essential to progressing, and it was so evident and so obvious from when Josh had finished, when we'd finished Josh's, because not to say Josh's there was anything wrong with it, because it was fantastic. I know Josh for obviously nearly 30 years, and I know everything Josh does, there's a reason behind every exercise, every single thing he does, even not just the exercising, with everything Josh does, so methodical. And then when Villy's came into play, it was just a shock to the body, and everyone's like, oh my God, my legs are sore, oh my chest is sore, oh this is sore. And it was just that's Villy's program,
Awesome.
So expect more, man. Expect more.
Expect more.
Yeah, that's it. You've got a few more weeks now. So.
Okay, so we obviously Sim put his hand up at taking the next third, which will be in a few months' time. But before we get in, like a lot of the listeners may we haven't had Sim on the show first, so let's all give Sim a little. Let's find out a little bit more about Sim. So Sim, how long have you been a coach for? Can you tell us, a little bit about your experience and a little bit about you, mate?
Well, I've been a coach here, let's say about I think I'm going on 2 years now. I think.
Three years.
We've been
2.5.
going for 2 years.
Yeah.
5 years. Let's just round it off to 5 years. Yeah, I've been a coach here, and when I first started, it was the first industry I jumped in. I jumped in I think I started off as a PT, as you would, and I was 18 at that time, and 18 years old.
You know.
I'm 30 in August. Hitting the dirty 30, man.
Me too now. Meant to my age.
So I started at 18. At the time, I didn't know exactly what field I wanted to get into, but I knew I liked sport more than anything. And at the time, I was boxing back then, so boxing was my go-to when it came to training and the style of training. Back then CrossFit was kind of coming up, and it was I think it was just a phase. It kind of still is, where it's like everyone wants to do CrossFit.
It was a more advanced.
And it was different, and I got sucked into it too. And then I ended up
nothing against CrossFit.
Nothing against it. I love CrossFit, but that's where I kind of got into it. When I went down there, it actually took me down towards that strength and conditioning part of what I do, and that's when this extra studying came in. I wanted to, but from there, I think back then we thought, this is probably going to sound bad, but I used to see CrossFit athletes as athletes. But when I started getting into strength and conditioning, I got it. It's weird, but CrossFit kind of got me into strength and conditioning. In a weird way, it kind of took me down that path.
Influenced your.
Exactly. Like just the functional movements and stuff like that. It kind of took me off that bodybuilding or old school boxing style of training. It kind of took me down that path, and from there, my goal was to work with athletes.
Nice.
You've worked with a
been
few.
doing this since,
Worked with a few athletes. Sim, we see on your Instagram page if anyone wants to follow Sim.
Follow me on Instagram, everyone.
He's
Subscribe to his YouTube.
Only fans too, everyone. Coming up soon.
Hey, in saying that, I'm talking about athletes. You shot a couple of athletes last week in this gym. So if you guys are listening to this,
what would you say, like, out of all of the elements of training an athlete, like, because there are so many elements, like training for sprinters and agility and all that, what would you say is your favourite? Because you see a lot of that going on in your Instagram, and we see when you're doing your own stuff as well, you work through a lot of that stuff. What would you say
my
interests you the most?
My favorite would probably have to be somewhere down the lines of boxing. Some boxing conditioning. I think I prefer that. I find that even just doing it myself more fun than anything. But I enjoy the movement part of things. Getting guys moving. I love using ladders, sprints. I love that type of stuff. Sometimes I don't even use weight at all or equipment. So I think the moving part side of things I enjoy the most.
Nice. So your program is coming up in a few months?
My program is coming up, and what I did, I went through Billy's program and his his phases and what he's gone through, and I didn't want to change. I didn't want a drastic change, but I kind of worked off what Billy left off. Where's he going to leave off from? And I wanted to keep him strong. I was like, my end goal is always, I think all of our end goals is always, by the end of your program or 12 weeks, everyone should be feeling better, moving better, and also a lot stronger and healthier without being injured. That is the end goal, and I kind of just wanted to take off where Billy leaves off and keep him strong, but add a bit more movement to the class. There will be a lot more cardio. I love building engines, but And as well, because I'm taking from July onwards, which is winter time, which is when we all tend to get fat.
Just a quick question, because who's got the biggest engine, Botany or Ryan?
Botany or Ryan, guys? Hey, what's going on, guys? Choose your answer, bro.
Is it Rod winning the competition so far?
Yeah, it's only 2 days in. Come on, bro. 2 days in, bro.
Wherever I'm at, that's what the biggest engine is.
I would like
in the gym,
like Sim's program, and if anyone's seen his Instagram page, I truly believe that some of the stuff that you do with your athletes and people you train is it's really high level, and it's not your average run of the mill style of training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're going to get a very, very different style of training with Sim's workouts. And what you just said was that he goes he'll athletically train people, and I want to ask Sim I'll ask you the question, but he'll athletically try and train people. I suppose what it's getting to is, what I want to say is that sometimes I believe that like strength work in the gym is over. They give it too much credit. You give the strength work too much credit, and I think we've all seen in a lot of the times with sport is that sometimes the biggest lifters in the gym are not the best performers on the field, or the hardest punchers in the gym. In the other, you know what I mean? Like I box with guys who couldn't deadlift 60 kilos, but they'll be able to punch a hole straight through. You know, so with your program, it seemed what is it what's drawn you to that sort of side of the programming and training? What is it?
I think just coaching over the years, what got me there was it was a lot more simple to teach, and it was more effective for the person. So I got into Olympic lifting for a bit when I did my CrossFit courses. So I had to, but like Josh was saying, do you know what I mean? To be able to sprint fast, or even to throw a heavy hit, teaching a snatch would it would take up some time of training, and sometimes you don't have. For example, I trained a crew that was trained. They were about to join a tournament in Perth.
Boxing.
Yeah, a boxing gym, Focus Boxing, and they came through and they said, "Look, we only got 8 weeks, and we only can train 1 day a week." And with short amount of time like that, I didn't have time. You don't have time to kind of break down a lift, or even break down something like a deadlift. So it was more, it was time. It was saving me time breaking down a snatch or a deadlift.
Bang for your buck exercise.
Yeah, and it was more just getting straight to the point. Sometimes even in the gym, right now, I think only maybe 5% of people can really snatch. You know what I mean? And to get maximum results from a snatch, you need to be lifting at least reasonable weight, and to do that, you've got to your technique has to be on point. So when it came to boxers who don't even lift at all, to train these guys and to break that, I probably would have wasted 6 weeks of time with them. Whereas, something more effective, like just using the balls. I like using slam balls, dead balls, that it's straight to the point, and just the mechanics used in that is everything you really need.
If you break down that movement, if you break down a snatch, really, it's a triple extension with some weight. Obviously, you're getting that bar over your head. You could easily, grab a heavy medicine ball and do a over the head pass.
That's it.
Just to with this.
Yeah, we've had those conversations before too, man. About it's very true, mate.
And you'll probably take it maybe the first set to practice it, but by the second, third set, they're already lifting with max, speed, max. Everything you want, max intent. Whereas if you were to try and break down a lift to them, sometimes then they won't even lift with max intent by the 6th, 7th week.
True, trying to firstly keep our members interested, and also give them that variety. And I know a lot of people, a lot of our members as well don't really understand that. So where they're coming in and they're wanting to progress. They're wanting to do that barbell snatch. They're wanting to do the barbell clean, or squat clean, and all these other movements that I know there's a lot of people won't say there's even such thing as a squat clean, but clean. They want to do these movements. They want, but they aren't really looking at what the benefit of the movement is when they can get the same benefit out of another exercise. So there would be more things that we'd put into a workshop and teach in progression rather than putting them into, say, an adrenaline class. Let's go into snatches when people can't do it. They could get a ball and do another exercise or something to get the benefit.
I mean, and like say, we're a bit older, us three, the new boys, so...
I know about having... Don't nod his head, you know to do that.
Mate, but I remember I was sitting in my gym, like sitting in gyms I was working in when I was young, and like very first time I was exposed to Google. So there was no YouTube, nothing. And I remember finding Google for the first time as I was working in a gym, and I was only like 19 behind reception. I was like, Google, and I was like, started Googling workouts and all this type of shit. And so like, there was no social media, no nothing, so we had nowhere to be really influenced by. You had to find a mentor on the gym floor, an older guy in the gym, which I did have a couple of good mentors and that type of thing on the way. But I remember the first time finding Google, I dead set printed off about 100 pages of information on strength training off Google, not really, so I would just go back to Google and get it again the next day. You know what I mean? So I was like, I didn't realise because it was so new, but yeah, man. So it's like, it's amazing and I suppose it was getting me to the point where a lot of the times you got to earn the right to do a particular exercise. You know what I mean? You don't just do something for the sake of it. Like, you got to lay the foundations, and there's a lot of benefit in just being minimal, like doing the minimal. You know what I mean? Like, especially for young athletes, I believe. You know, and I've sort of really thought that a lot. Like, if you've got a young athlete, like sometimes don't expose them to too much too early. Leave a little bit in the tank for them. Like, it's like just bring them along slowly. Make them just leave them in the gym wanting a bit more. You know what I mean? And does that make sense to you, boys?
Everyone's different too in terms of how they progress. You know what I mean?
Oh, mate, 100%.
Yeah, they just need to start with basics, and you just drip feed them. And then you'll have another athlete who could just react to something and do it straight away. You know what I mean? So,
you know, from like guys when we're young and you're growing up, some blokes are super athletic and effective real young, and other guys take a bit of time and catch up and that. You know, so yeah, definitely.
Coming to that, our man on my left, same kind of thing as Sim. We'll get into like a little bit of an introduction if we can.
Definitely.
Most people in and around the gym know who Hammy is. He's a bit of a larrikin, but also a very knowledgeable trainer. Also a lot of fun to be around in and out of class. Hammy, your experience, you've been in and out of the gym or been in and around the gym.
He's done some heavy time.
Your name Windsor.
Been in and around the gym for a long time, in and around sports most of your life. Can you give us a little bit of your background in training and also a little bit of your background in sport as well? Because I've known you for many years. I know that you're a pretty avid sports player. You can play footy. You're pretty coordinated, and you can work your way around the footy field. That's for sure. But mate, give us a little bit of a background on your sporting and your coaching life, mate.
So my sporting background's rugby league. That would be my main sporting background. So I had a passion for all different sports, but I guess played at a professional level of rugby league, and then I guess the pinnacle of my career was to represent my country. But
Lebanon.
going back, Lebanon.
India.
Seriously. But just going back into like when I first started off as a footy player, I don't know what I was just the worst in the. I was like, to know what I know now and going back into like how it was growing up as an athlete, I wish I knew or treated I guess training and the trainers with a little bit more respect.
But that's hindsight, man. That's everything, you know.
But then you have your, so rugby league background. I've been in the fitness industry for about 10 years, but been a qualified coach for about 8 years.
Okay, nice.
Yes, I've been here as Altitude doing the dodges. I've been here as Altitude for about 4 years, 4.5 years.
Yeah. And you've been like you were coaching the strength and conditioning coach for the Roosters.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get a start. So I actually had an interview with Craig Walker, which is he's one of the head honchos at the Roosters, and obviously trying to get your foot through the door, you just had to start off at a low level. So I was lucky enough to get an interview with him. He told me, yeah, they'll give me a call back, and you might just have to start with the lower grades, running water or just helping out with the coaching stuff there. So one of the SNCs for the SG Ball at the time had quit or moved, and I actually got a chance to step into that role, which I'm forever grateful, because it's taught me a lot. And then like being involved in footy again, just realised how much I missed it.
And you work with the women's as well?
Yeah, I did get a chance to work with the NRLW, the Roosters. We were unlucky to lose against the Broncos, but that was a good experience in its own as well.
What was it like going from training like the general population to training, like a top tier women's rugby league team?
Yeah, I guess it's a little bit more professional, and then just with the programming that you'd have set out, everyone would be on the same page, knowing what they're doing, and you'd expect nothing less for everyone that comes into the gym performing whatever lifts they need to do and out on the field. In terms of like doing the gen pop, obviously I love doing that type of training as well, just to see the satisfaction and look on everyone's faces that sort of put in hard work. But two different scales, type of training. But
they take a little bit more serious.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You have to be.
They listen more.
They definitely listen more. So if you're listening at their gen pop, I'll be in. Listen more. But yeah, they paid professional athletes. So,
and when we come into your quarter of our program towards the end of the year, obviously we'll be hitting summer.
Summer, yes.
What can we expect, or what can the members expect, and what can we expect?
Yeah. I won't be going away too much in terms of programming. I'm just building off the back of what Simi we're doing. Like he said, with his 3 months program, you've got a little people that haven't been to the gym or just been a little bit too laxy-daisy, you know what I mean? And then just, I guess in terms of programming, different phases, blocks. So you have your hypertrophy, power, strength. I just want to see where we're at, like after or through his 3 months, and how his programming is working in terms of how people are moving like through the gym.
Yeah.
Because I just believe I know we believe in all like similar philosophies. Hey, can you cut that out?
Philosophies.
For Salafis.
Esophagus.
So it's not later until the year, so I just it's going to be exciting for me to program the last 3 months. I guess we're going to be working on some sort of shred program as well, for people to burn off those unwanted kilos. KFC.
I sent you a message after the games last year. What did you come in the games?
Oh, we won against who did we play against?
No, the VT games.
Yeah, the VT games. Yeah.
But what did you come like in the individuals?
Like the last work here?
Yeah.
When you cut the corner.
Because
strategies.
This is how much of an athlete Hammy is. When did you find out you were doing the games?
Man, I came in to clean the leaves from the front garden. Got my blower like a good little trainer.
That morning,
that was the most exciting morning of my life.
He walked into the games that morning and he found he was going to do the games, yeah? Not a bad effort.
Stay ready.
Stay ready, man. Hey, veterans here, man.
Not to take anything away from anyone else.
No way.
That was super.
Just giving him a rap. Giving him a good rap. Was a
nice. Guys, moving on. Like I know we have programmed some new stuff over here at Botany. So like we've got some energy system development classes that we've slotted in, obviously with our new space that we've got. There's some extra classes that we can put in, some new style of classes. We've also put in some athletic development or sport-specific classes. Sport-specific being tailored around winter sports. Okay. What can people expect both in the energy system development classes? What can they expect in the sport-specific classes as well, or the athletic development sessions, I should say? Obviously, we do want to take them over to Rye, and we will take them into other locations as well. Once we use Botany as our testing ground. Okay, what can people expect? You guys are taking the reins for the AD classes. What can they expect, guys?
Yeah, well, with that, so it's pretty much targeted around sports specific training. So for all athletes that play different sports, and it's in season now as well. So the program won't be too hectic and insane. So it's just pretty much just maintenance program, with 4 weeks. And myself and Julia share in 4-week blocks. So I guess we're going to try and
just keep them fresh, man. Keep them fresh for the season, as it's like in season, like you said.
Yeah.
Just keeping that maintenance on their strength.
So from a member's point of view or someone that's coming in, what would be the difference between an adrenaline class and a athletic development class? Like, what would they be doing? Would they be?
So the difference would be like the movements that we'll be focused on, and tailored to their kind of sport, rather than just kind of just getting their heart rate up and all that stuff like that. Like we'll focus on speed first in that first couple of minutes, and then we'll go into some maintenance work with strength and power, and then a bit of cardio to flush them out. But try to not overtrain them due to their games on the weekend. So we'll try to keep them fresh.
So that's on a 3-day split.
We try and break it up to Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because they obviously have training.
They either play on a Saturday.
Tuesday.
They either play on a Saturday or Sunday, and they train Tuesday, Thursdays. So
they'll be in here Monday, Wednesday, Friday to get their extras in. I say extras, they should be doing it anyway. But extras, if you're a weekend warrior, you're playing for a local club like Mascot, Botany, Redfern, or whoever.
Go the Jets.
They should be doing
Hunters Hill. Shout out to Hunters Hill. HH. Chopper, we're still waiting for your debut, bro.
Squad needs a fullback, my mate to my left here.
Really, a lot. If you look at history, many years ago, like if you spoke about strength and conditioning to someone that was playing, for Maddo Tigers or any other club, like just a normal, local comp club. And you told them that they should be doing the other work. There are not many people would be doing any strength and conditioning in between their Tuesday and Thursday training. They go to Tuesday, they might do, some cardio and a little bit of skills on Tuesday, and then they go do their ball work most of the time on a Thursday, and then play on a Sunday. How important is it? This is everyone for them to be doing their extras on their Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
I would say just to get their body ready and prevent injuries from happening on the weekend.
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than just doing whatever you want to do. Like going to the gym doing bicep curls and that's not going to help you on the field. So
and it's going to be minimal effort for maximum return. You know what I mean? Like you might not. A lot of the times, I know, like especially footy boys, don't enjoy the training side of things. But I'm telling you, you got to crave the outcome as opposed to the process, because the outcome is always going to be worth it. You know what I mean? So you put that little bit of time in the gym doing like bang for your buck quality based exercises, and it's going to give you more of a return than like Vil said, doing your bicep curls. Just focus on those mirror muscles. There's a lot better ways to train. Not there's nothing wrong with mirror muscles. We all love doing that, but there's probably a much more effective and efficient way to train as an athlete. Okay.
Most definitely.
All right, so I wanted to get into another little subject. Okay, what would be, I would say, the top exercises or movements that football and soccer players should be doing pre and post sporting on the weekend to improve their performance and blow this season out of the park? Let's have a little chat about that. So, we'll start with Sim. What do you reckon, mate?
Soccer? You talking soccer? I think if they're if they're playing, if we're, let's say, in season, I'd probably just focus on more strength stuff. You know what I mean? Just because they get their cardio and all that running on the weekends. So I'd probably focus on more strength stuff, stability. And sometimes when it comes to movement, when I see some like soccer players, even some boxers training, they tend to try and be so stiff when they try to copy or mimic guys in the gym who train. But with their sport, like one thing that I've tried to always teach, athletes that I train, especially even with just one soccer player that I was working with when we were doing some ladder work or some speed drills with the hurdle, he would try and stand upright and have his arms going, nice and straight and stiff, because he knows that's how we do it. But I would always try and get him just to move his body the way he would normally move, because that's how he's going to perform on the field, and it's better he works like that in the gym. So I think if there's little things that they could try and just focus on when they are in the gym, is to try not to be too stiff. Move the way they would move in the gym. And when it comes to strength work, I think Josh touched on it earlier. Unilateral always
Unilateral
trumps everything. Yeah,
I like how you said
I
that
think
as
it
well,
always
because
trumps.
you can look at an athlete. They've been told to train a certain way because it's been done for years. But then, as a coach, this is what I usually do as well. Like, you just want to see the biomechanics on how people move, and then you try and improve them from there. Because if you're not moving a certain way, that's not going to be effective to your sport. You need to change that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So exactly what he was saying too, like being too stiff, upright, and then getting into maybe just relax a bit or get more lower center of gravity. But it's
Very true.
I know from last year. So last year I played league tag. It's like a hybrid game of rugby of Oztag.
But before you
Billy's
come
up
to that too, did you play tag last night?
I did. One good. Anyway,
He's come out every time.
coming out like obviously.
No one knows who Ryan Gertler is.
That's way back.
I had a little discussion with Billy and also some of the guys in my team. So we're pretty much all above the age of 30. A lot of us, or a lot of the players, don't do much running. Pre and post we're talking about, I think a lot of people, like if you were going into the gym, you wouldn't, for the first time you hadn't trained in a year, you wouldn't go and stick 200 kilos on the bench press and bench press 200 kilos. And I know a lot of people will go and just jump onto an Oztag or footy field if they haven't done their run prep and just try and sprint. And a long time ago I heard somewhere you have to earn the right to sprint or to run as fast as you can. Last year when we were playing, it was just a social comp, playing on Saturday Arvos, but it was a proper competition. I was watching players drop left, right and centre, torn calves, torn groins, snapped Achilles I saw, all these injuries because no one was taking the preparation serious, And if you do want to have fun, this is for everyone, us and, all the listeners. If you do want to even have a social game or even go and have a game of tennis on the weekend, you've got to make sure that you're doing some sort of preparation and earn the right to step, be agile or run as fast as you can. So for me, that would be my top thing. I'm actually doing a little running program at the moment that Billy's done up for me, and I think it's paid dividends already. So I've only been doing it for a couple of weeks, and I played a game last night and I feel like my legs held up, which is, for me, someone that's so off balance because all the injuries and surgeries that I've had, is a massive thing for me to come out of it without even a little niggle. So I'd say make sure that you're doing your run prep.
Yeah, the older we get too, we can't get away with just taking a week off or taking 2 weeks off.
Yeah,
and just jumping back.
No, you can't do it, can you? Sometimes you don't realise it in hindsight. It goes quick, that time where you could just.
Oh mate,
I'm realising that now.
Bang, but you like go from being able to do 2 days.
I haven't realised that yet.
That's because you
in saying that as well, Troy, I remember I hadn't played tag in years. I gave up footy, so I did a big leg session with Talakai. Might have been a Wednesday afternoon, and then rocked up to Oztag, did a few stretches, didn't even do just a couple of statics, dynamic stretches, and then ran on and thought I was Benji Marshall. Tried to put a grubber in, went to take off and tore my hamstring, and I was out for 3 months. So it just comes down to like. Prep is so important. Whether you're playing socially or at a professional level, obviously athletes they train to, play at a high level, even if you're playing socially as well.
And it's funny because we all even the weekend warriors, so to speak, and we all admire those elite athletes and the way they move, the way they do. But we've got access to it all. Everyone's got access to all that stuff. It's just a matter of doing it. So what they do is not that crazy, it's probably a little bit of foam rolling, a little bit of prep, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of activation based work, and you know, you don't have to be as diligent as a first grade footy player or an elite level boxer, but you know, just doing a little bit of that week in, week out is going to make a big ton of difference. And also, like, mate, arguably your greatest gift is your health. Like, your greatest asset in the world is your body and your health. Like, you're never going to get... So if you've got any desire to be active... I mean, I'm 41 and I dead set have not felt... I don't think I felt fitter, you know what I mean, than I do now. I feel fit. Don't recover as well, obviously. I don't recover as well, but I honestly believe in you get out what you put into your body, you know what I mean? So, you know... but yeah, I mean, I think, you know, your nutrition's got to be on point 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe 75% for Bill.
Yeah, but I guess the older you get, you know, the OCI starts kicking in. You all know what the OCI is?
OCI?
Yeah, OCI. Can you say it on the podcast? Yeah, OCI. Yeah.
OCI.
Yeah, it's old conitis. There's a few poorly spread of guys if you hear me, but I was a bit
Even someone said the other day about cold showers, and they were viewing cold showers as a way to punish themselves or improve their toughness. And I said, mate, get away from that mindset of viewing it as a way to, like, it's going to improve your performance. Like, cold showers, scientifically proven to improve your performance. So if we get away from that whole mindset of I'm doing a cold shower purely to make myself tougher or more resilient, and go, okay, what are the benefits of this cold shower? How's it going to assist me and help me in recovering after my workout and improving my performance? It's going to make that cold shower a hell of a lot easy. Plus, I know Troy likes to do 60 to 100 calf raises under the cold water every day. So either count your calf raises.
I'm joking.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. That's just sort of.
In saying that too, man, this might be off subject. In training as well, like I think a lot of people get away from like different types of training. If they're so used to doing one type of training, always beating and bashing their bodies up, and they don't let themselves recover, and then you wonder why you don't progress from like. You know, you're training or getting bigger or stronger.
Yeah, such a good point, Harry.
Yeah, I guess that's another time topic.
So what are you changing the stimulus all the time?
100%. If you're
like bashing yourself up all the time,
100%.
Like there's kind of a difference from a workout to a program, if you would think like that.
Yeah, there's a massive difference from a workout.
Like you can do a workout, anyone can do that. Like
yes,
anyone can come off the couch and just do a workout. Like it's just you're just sweating pretty much. Rather to a program where you're kind of like going off kind of percentages or kind of movements that you want to focus on that type of person. Because I see a lot of that around now, like just chucking up random workouts.
Let's go 200 cows on the rower, run around the block, 400 push-ups
for time.
Yeah.
I always say that's the difference between training and a workout.
Yeah, like your push that you put up, like that's
when you train, we train every day, but a workout should be every now and then. But some people have it the other way around.
This could be a whole other show on this, because I think that this is like talking about the difference between a WOD and a program. You know, a program with meaning. It could be a whole show, because like it's a difference. It's a shame because you see so many people judge a class that we do. Like not every class is going to be better than the last in their eyes. Not every class is they're gonna burn 5,000 calories. Not every class is gonna leave them dripping sweat or with this massive muscle pump. And it's a shame that people judge that. You know, the what we call the journey on one workout. You know, it's like what was the WOD today? Oh shit! People want to be smashed every time they come in here, and I think it's like if people were more educated, and hopefully this is what we're trying to deliver on here, that education around what people need to get to that end goal safely, you know.
And I see that.
Yeah, and I say that too, because you know how you've done your 3 months program, and then man, I 100% believe in on how you program your training. So I don't know if people like realize the small things you added to it, whether it be tempo, contrast training, changing a few single unilateral stuff, would have built them up for the next phase into what Villy's introducing. So after being smashed for a week, you know, you could have asked them, how do you feel? Oh, my body's so sore, I feel stronger. But it's not after 1 week of training. It's from what Josh has sort of built up, and then you're progressing from there, which is...
Yeah, definitely, man. I think even like the energy system development sessions, that's something that, like you see it a little bit. It's dabbled in CrossFit a bit with their working different energy system sessions, but not cardio is not all the same. Like cardio is not just cardio. So, and you're going to discover that with these sessions because you're going to be introduced into your cardio training, your anaerobic training. So your aerobic training, your anaerobic training, your lactic training, and these are all different components of your health that we put together in some of these new classes. So, you know, and that's like, it don't matter if you're a weekend warrior, elite athlete, or just an average mum looking after her kids. Like, this is, anyone can do these type of classes. It's a matter of just making sure it fits in with, you know, the intensity that you can work at. But yeah, so
and there is an aim with those ESD classes as well, because I know Ange, when she's designing them, like we sat down and kind of worked out a little structure of what we want to do. With the adrenaline classes, obviously we're fluctuating between longer intervals and short intervals, so then we're hitting the different energy systems and trying to give people that general physical preparedness where they're not just, you know, an endurance person or someone that can go for short, sharp bursts. Give them that general physical, I say, fitness, you know, where with the ESD classes...
work capacity, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like
it's with the ESD classes, said, you know, we're going to work on aerobic capacity for the first 4 weeks. Let's give someone a 5k row. Let's see how they fare with that 5k row in the beginning. We'll work the aerobic, we'll smash their aerobic system for 4 weeks, and then put them through the same test post 4 weeks. You know, and then work on, you know, maybe an anaerobic system, you know, and then just keep working through so people can see their progress instead of just doing cardio in short bursts, cardio in long bursts, and then keep going back, and people don't see where they're going. So
yeah, for sure, man. And you get there'll be a full explanation behind all the, you know, the method to the madness, all that too, guys. You know, so you understand what you're going to be doing. But yeah, it's a big plus of the Valitudo training programs, I believe. You know what I mean? You're doing all that type of stuff. And you see this a lot with, like, look at the Franco's gym and those gyms in America. And you see that a lot here, but you don't see it much in Australia, you know what I mean? You don't see much of that type of conditioning, you know, and it's probably going to pave the way for, you know, really good development in athletes and general populations. So.
Yeah. Right, guys, we'll touch on a couple other topics. We'll just have a little chit-chat. Boxing. Okay, so there's been a couple fights over the last few weeks, some that you can probably, you know, shake your head at. Jake Paul and, you know...
Oh, that was crazy, man. I couldn't believe he did it. Was that other guy an actual boxer?
No, they were
He's a wrestler.
But you think that you said that punch coming around the corner.
Yeah, mate, definitely. And like with that, I had a conversation with a few people about it. You're looking at... It's like just the hype of people. I think, like, for me, that was just a staged bullshit fight, you know? This is my belief. There was no title on the belt. It was all about making money. They tried to G it up at the press conference and on their socials.
Did you hear about something that Jake Paul's got, like a cryptocurrency earning he made for that fight?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, mate.
Mate, so he had people chip in, and it's into this like particular type of. It's not like, it's sort of like an online currency. And that was like apparently more than what he got paid for the actual fight.
No,
like this guy's, he's a money making machine.
Yeah, but like the kid didn't look like a landed flush, and also what's his name? The guy that he fought again? Ben Askren. Yeah, mate, I watched like a highlight reel of him seeing him getting hit in the UFC with those little UFC gloves, 10 times harder than what he got hit by Jake Paul, mate. And he got a gallon.
Yeah.
Was there any thoughts?
Yeah.
Good on him.
Look at him get a pay-per-view.
Good on him.
Agreed.
I was backing
This
Gallon.
is to give me a pay-per-view. I was like,
Mate, the undercard was great. The undercard fights were fantastic, you know what I mean? But good. Yeah, I'll say as well, so I agree, good on him, mate, you know?
yeah, good on him, mate, yeah.
I'm going to go.
So the big call about him, like, just being a footy player as well, you know?
Yeah.
Now, man, you got to give him respect. Like, like he gets in there and has a
and tough. I think it comes down to a lot of mental mindset, toughness, and mongrel. You know.
Man.
Now you got like Cambosis coming up. What do you reckon about Cambosis and Lopez, mate?
That's gonna be a fight.
His biggest fight, biggest fight so far. I think it'll be good.
Cambosis' biggest fight.
Yeah.
I think like I didn't know much about Lopez. And I love George Cambosis. I think he's
brilliant.
Mate, the mongrel he's got in him.
It's fantastic.
I honestly didn't. I haven't been following boxing like I used to. of Australian boxing, I'm dabbling in and out of it, but when I looked at Lopez, I watched
He's a
the
killer
fight with
too,
him
man.
and Lomachenko. And Lomachenko, mate, the whole world knows him.
Yeah.
And to my,
Yeah.
pretty much a whole boxing world knows him. And his footwork and the way that he moves around the ring and his evasive skills. And then to see Lopez beat him the way, I was like, man, fuck, like, he's gonna have to be on his A game.
I think Lomachenko was too small for him too. But
I do too,
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah.
I agree.
Too
Yeah,
small.
but what's the difference? What size do you think that Kambosos is too small for him as well?
He's
No,
taller than
yeah,
Teofimo.
he's a little bit taller,
Yeah.
but I think it's too small for him. The way not Kambosos, Lomachenko fights, I think it's either got to be like his height or like a little smaller. Yeah, he usually dominates, but having someone as big as Lopez, who's a good boxer,
What's your prediction?
yeah, for Kambosos.
Kambosos.
I'm going for Kambosos.
Yeah.
I'm going for the Aussie.
Boys, Kambosos
Yeah.
and the footy.
Got to.
Go the dogs.
Oh, yeah, hey.
Oh, the dog is. The
Dogs
dog
make the
is.
first
The dogs are off. How many grand final tickets, everyone? Get your grand final tickets.
We're selling grand final
Man.
tickets too, yeah.
You know what he's crying. He's
There's a
crying.
fight down on the chemistry.
He had money on the other side. I know, like I'm a pretty avid footy fan as well. I haven't been watching it as much as I used to. Like the last few years, I didn't watch footy that much, but this year, I'm not even in a tipping comp, and I've been watching it. And the fucking footy this year, in my
Mate,
opinion,
I love
is
it.
better than
Yeah,
it's better than the
game,
last few years.
I love it,
The
mate.
new rules that they brought
Yeah,
out.
so good, yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's fucking like it's.
Yeah.
I didn't agree with the no penalty and restart at the like last year.
Yeah, what do you think about the 6 again rule? Because there was a I can't remember what player it was. He might have been injured, and you made a comment about because the game's so much faster now. Players.
Victor Radley, I think, made they interviewed him about it. I heard him say something.
Did he say something about like because the game's so fast? That
Well, no, Trent Merrin retired because of it. Trent
Yeah.
Merrin pulled
He's
the
back,
pin.
isn't he? Oh, did he just
Mate,
retire?
just
a
pulled
couple
it
of weeks ago?
last week, 2 weeks ago. He
Right.
retired because he
But
he said he could, like he literally said, he goes, I couldn't keep up with the game,
Yeah.
and I thought it was mate, what a brave call, man! Like to say, hey, I couldn't believe it. I was
That's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
instead of like milking it for another year, whatever. I just
Yeah.
thought, mate, it's a pretty brave thing to say. Yeah,
But he's had a long time in the game, mate. He's hit his pinnacle. What more does he need to achieve? But he's saying
fair
that
call.
is a pretty humble call, mate. But yeah, the only issue that I would have with that rule is sometimes you don't know what it's been called for. You know, like they say 6 again, it's like, fuck, what happened? You know, like I didn't see, you know.
Mate, I think I don't know. Like I feel like I'm getting better at calling it, but like I'll
Yeah.
call, then I'll hear the bell. Like I go, that's got to be 6 there. Brrr, you hear the bell going like. But mate, the footy's been fantastic. I just mate, enjoying the speed of it, the contact. I think it's and we were just talking earlier about
Yeah, we
footy.
had a
And
conversation about Melbourne Storm and because I asked you who you go for and you go like a South boy, but
I'm a South boy through and through, mate. It can't be anything. But Melbourne Storm. There's something special about Melbourne Storm, you know what I mean? Like everything about them,
You can't deny him. That's it.
mate. I know, and I hear so many people bag him. You know what I mean? Like about just maybe the way Cameron Smith used to be as a player, and but I admire it, mate. I think they just play. They do the little 1%ers better, and then like I said earlier, Bellamy's got them all to buy into that same sort of process, mate. You know, the same culture, mate. You know, I really think it's something special, man. You know, we've been lucky to witness it. Yeah, good footy.
All right, lads. Well, I guess we'll leave it there.
All right.
I do want to obviously get you guys on again. I think this is our core group for all our listeners. This is our core group of trainers. There are a few others. We'll get them on at a later date. Once again, thanks for listening. If you do or you did get any value out of the podcast, please like, share, give us a review, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I am the greatest.